Mishnah 6, lesson 2, and we're going to do this Gemara right here. Haya Balkei Rishon. Let me just show you what we learned in the Mishnah. The Mishnah was talking about if two people were walking, one had a barrel and one had a beam. And we had three cases in the Mishnah. The first case was where they were walking in opposite directions and they crashed into each other. The second case was where they were walking in the same direction. The Balkaira was in front, the one with the beam was in front, and the one with the barrel was behind him. So based on this case, we said that if the one with the barrel walked too fast, so then the owner of the beam is going to be putter. However, if the owner of the beam stops short, then he's going to be responsible for the damages to the barrel. Okay, so let's take a look now at this Gemara. Haya Balkei Rishon. Let's say the owner of the beam was first, chulu, etc. So Reish Lakish, who is an Amira, we said he was a friend of Rabbi Yochanan, a brother-in-law of Rabbi Yochanan, and we spoke the different stories about him. He said he has this following halacha: Shtei paris b'rishus harabim. If there's two cows in the rishus harabim, achas revutza v'achas ma'aleches. One of them is lying down, whichever one, I don't know the grammar. V'achas ma'aleches, and one of them is walking. Okay. So you have one that's in the street and one is walking, one that's just laying in the street and one is walking. Bata maleches bervutza. If the one that's walking kicks, bata means to kick. The mahaleches, the walking one, kicks the one that's laying down or squatting. So ptura, it's pater. Now let's go over to look at the case. Ignore the bottom right now. I'll bring it, make it like that. You have the two cows. You have the revutza, that's the one laying down. Sorry for my art. And mahaleches is the walking. Now, if the walking one, let's make a line over here, kicks the one that's laying down, so the din would be that he's going to be pater. He's going to be pater for kicking. And the reason is kala mishana. Anyone that does something strange or different, a mishana is to change from the normal. Like this one that's laying down. This one is the kala mishana, did something different. Uba achar, another one comes vishina ba. It's vishina. And does something else different, which is kicking. Normally it doesn't kick. So the din is that it's pater. It's kind of like he started. You shouldn't have been there. It's your fault. Why were you laying there? So therefore, it's going to be pater. Okay, now let's take a look at the next case. Oops. The next case is revutza b'mahaleches. If the one that's laying down, squatting, kicks. I added in the word kick because it meant to say, the Gemara is doing it in shorthand, but it's over here it said bata maleches berevutza. The maleches kicked the revutza. Here it says revutza b'maleches. If the one that was squatting kicks the one that's walking, then it's going to be chayavis. He did two things wrong. First of all, you're in the middle of the street. You're not supposed to be there. You're laying on the floor. And second of all, you kicked. Okay, so it's chayav. If we look in our picture, so I would go like this, make an arrow that way. I would write chayav. Okay, which means the one laying down kicks the one that's walking. I don't know if it's like that. Whichever, I'm not sure how to do that. So then it would be chayav. Now there's a very interesting Gemara. Gemara says now, lema misayale. Shall we say that we have a support? Messiah is a support for Reish Lakish. Now the last din of Reish Lakish that said mahaleches, revutza b'mahaleches, if the one that's laying down kicked the one that's walking, and is chayiv, we're going to see a support from our Mishnah, and it's actually the second part of the Mishnah we just quoted. It says like this. This is the full thing. Haya Balkei Rishon, if the owner of the beam was first in front, ubal chavis achron, and the owner of the barrel is behind him, nishbara chavis b'kaira. If the barrel, chavis is the barrel, broke on the beam, so pater. However, vim amad balkaira, and this is the main point, that's why I underlined that if the balkaira stopped short, he stood still, then he's going to be chayav. He's going to be chayav. Okay, So what we're going to compare is, sorry, picture. We have this the Baal Kaira. He's not a Baal Kaira with the Aleph. He's not reading the Torah. He's Baal, the owner of a beam. Kaira is a beam. So he's holding this beam over here. It's a little long in the back, but the point is that the guy behind him is going to smash his barrel into it. So the Baal Kaira is walking, and he stops short. Let's see. Stop. Okay, we'll just do it like that. Okay, you can't see the end. So he stopped short. We'll make the sign pole. And he smashed into him. So because he stopped short, so he's chayiv. Now this is very similar to this cow that's laying on the ground that kicks the one that's walking by. Here he was chayiv. He caused the damage to the one that was walking behind him, let's say, and he's chayiv. And here also, the owner of the barrel is walking behind him, and he's chayiv. So this seems to be a support for what Rish Lakish said, that the cow laying down kicks is chayiv. And the Baal Kaira is chayiv, the fact that the Baal Kaira is chayiv, that's a support from a Mishnah to the din of Rish Lakish. V'ha-hacha, and this, v'ha could mean this or but. This here, the kiravuta b'malaches. Actually, I like to translate it as this. I think that's how Mati said. I think he's right. Let's try to erase this. We'll write in this. This here, the kiravuta b'malaches, is like dummy. Dummy means like, or analogous, or similar to. Dummy is like comparable to. This here, the kiravuta b'malaches, is similar to dummy, is similar to the one that's squatting, that's laying down, is kicking. The one that's walking, ukatani chayev, and we learned chayev. Ukatani is, and we learned. And we learned that it's chayev. Okay, so we have a comparison right here between these two cases. He's laying on the floor, he kicks, he's chayev. The Baal Kaira stopped short, he's chayev. It's like he kicked him. That's what the comparison right now. V'tizbara, the Gemara asks, do you really think so? Ha, siya boy. This person, siya boy is siya support, and boy means needs or is seeking. Siya boy, he's seeking to bring us support. Loi mistaya, it's not enough. Mistaya means enough. The loi mistaya, that he's not supporting. See that same word, samach yud yodayin, and siya is support, or messiah, lema messiah, again support. So this is a word that we just had 3 times. Loi mistaya, it's not enough. Don't mix up the word mistaya with messiah. Mistaya means enough. Messiah with an ayin, without the tough in there, it means to support. Loi mistaya, it's not enough. The loi messiah, that he's not supporting. Ela miksha namikasha, he's even asking it a difficulty. Miksha namikasha, he's making it difficult, or he's asking a question. Now we're going to see that these are very, very different cases. And from the case of laying on the floor, from Rish Lakish, the cow laying on the floor, we can be medayik. We can deduce from that a halacha that would contradict this. Okay, we'll see how this works. What are we going to say? It says as follows. Taima, the reason. Debata, because he kicked. I added in the word chayev. The reason why he's chayev is because he kicked. The one that's laying down kicked the one that's walking by. Let's bring this over so we can see it. This one laying down kicked the one that was walking by. And that's why he's chayev. Hahuska b'meila. But let's say on its own, the one walking, b'meila means like on its own, automatically. On its own, it tripped over it. Then I would assume that the one laying down is pater, because the only reason why he's chayev because he kicked. If he would have been pater by doing nothing, then we wouldn't have had to say that he kicked. So the fact that we said that he's chayev when he kicked, that means that if he didn't kick, he would be pater for causing damage to the one that walked into him and tripped over him. V'hamas nisin, but our Mishnah, the memela, which is or on his own, in other words, he didn't actually jab this pole, this beam back into the guy that was walking. He didn't do that. He just stopped short, and the other one walked right into him. And we said that nevertheless he's chayiv. But in the case of the animal that's laying down, if he did nothing and just stop and just lay down, he would have been pater. So they're actually not comparable. The actual cases themselves are comparable, but a diuk off Reish Lakish's case, where the one's laying down, if he does nothing, we could be medayik that he would be pater, and that diuk is a contradiction to this case of the Mishnah. But masnisin de b'meila, but our Mishnah is when it's on its own, ukatani chayiv. And nevertheless, we said that he is chayiv. So if he would have done nothing in Reish Lakish's case, he would be pater. Our Mishnah, by doing nothing, says chayiv. So it's actually a contradiction. You thought you were bringing a support, you're actually bringing a question. The Gemara answers, we didn't do this in class, but masnisin, our Mishnah, de paska leorcha kishalda. Okay, now de paska means that it's blocking. Paski is to block. Leorcha is the road. Kishilda is like a carcass. So let's put in the words here. Paska is to block. Orcha is the road. And Kishilda is, I think it actually means a spine, but what it means in our instance is a carcass, like a dead animal. So it's just like was thrown across the road. And some of the commentaries learn that the point over here is that there was no way to walk by. And that's why we're not talking about the animal now. We're talking about the beam. I can't really twist it on this program, but if it would twist the beam so that it went this direction, right? It's gonna mess up my picture. But if it went that way and there was no way to walk by, so then that's why we make him chayav for doing nothing. But however, but here, which means Reish Lakish's case, kagoin, for example. We'll do just the Rava b'chad gisa. He crouched, or he lay down. It's actually to squat. He lay down. I'll use the same word that we used before. Right? He lay down b'chad gisa on one side. Chad means one, and gisa is a side. In iboyle leskuye, he should have walked. Skuye is to walk. You should have walked be'idach gisa, on the other side. Idach is other. So in other words, in this case over here, where he was laying down, it was only on part of the road, so the animal could have walked around him, and there would have been no problem. So the only reason why he's going to be chayiv is because he kicked him. But if he just would have tripped over him, he would have been pater because there was room for the animal to walk by. And that's why doing nothing in this case would have been pater. However, in this case, doing nothing would still make you chayiv because there was no room for him to walk by, and it doesn't mean he was allowed to break his barrel on purpose and make him chayiv. What it does mean is that he had no ability to stop without crashing into him. Here, he could have swerved around him, but here he couldn't stop walking. He's carrying a heavy load. Yes, like inertia, it's hard to stop it. So he would be chayiv even though he did nothing. Okay, we'll stop right here at B'idach Gisa.